Do you ever feel it? That sensation that you are being watched, but the room is empty. It's a heaviness that settles on your chest at 3 a.m., a string of bad luck that defies statistical probability, or a sudden sharp chill in a warm room. We are taught to ignore these signals. We are told it's stress, it's anxiety, it's just in your head. But deep down, in your bones, you know the truth. You are sensing a frequency that modern life tries to mute. You are sensing a spiritual hostility. Our ancestors didn't need to be convinced of this. They understood that the world is layered, and that alongside the physical realm, there is a spiritual war being fought. And sometimes, you are the target. But what if I told you that the ultimate weapon against this darkness isn't a modern invention? What if the most powerful shield you could ever own was forged 1,500 years ago, in the silence of a cave, by a man who survived assassination not once, but twice? This is the story of a code, a prayer, and a metal that has terrified the forces of darkness for centuries. Today, we aren't just telling a history story. We are handing you a weapon. To understand why this specific protection is so lethal to evil, you have to understand the chaos from which it was born. Rewind the clock to the year 480 AD. The Roman Empire is collapsing. The world is on fire. Law and order have disintegrated, replaced by the rule of the sword and the whims of barbarians. In the middle of this apocalypse stands a young man named Benedict. He is sent to Rome for his education, expected to join the elite. But when he walks the streets of the eternal city, he doesn't see glory. He sees a sewer. He sees a civilization that has eaten itself alive with vice, corruption, and spiritual rot. He realizes that the poison in the streets is more dangerous than any invading army. So Benedict does the unthinkable. He doesn't just drop out, he vanishes. He rejects his inheritance, his status, and the toxic culture of Rome. He runs into the wilderness of Subiaco. For 3 years, he lives in a hole in the side of a cliff. No human contact, no comfort, just silence and prayer. A monk named Romanus lowers scraps of bread to him on a rope. It sounds insane to us, but this wasn't madness. It was training. In that darkness, Benedict was confronting his own demons, stripping away his ego, and forging a spirit so bright that it would eventually blind the forces of evil. And when you carry that kind of light, the darkness reacts. It gets angry. Eventually, Benedict's reputation for holiness spread, and a group of monks begged him to lead them. He warned them, "You won't like my rules. I take this seriously." They insisted, but they were undisciplined men, soft and worldly, and Benedict's demand for purity burned them like acid. Their annoyance turned into hatred, and their hatred turned into a murder plot. Picture the scene. The communal dinner, the clatter of plates. A monk brings Benedict a goblet of wine. It looks normal. It smells normal, but it is laced with a lethal poison. Benedict, as was his custom, raised his hand to bless the drink. He made the sign of the cross. At the exact moment his hand traced the cross in the air, the glass goblet didn't just crack. It exploded, shattered as if someone had thrown a rock at it. The poisoned wine hissed onto the floor. Benedict stood up, looked at the trembling assassins, and said with total calm, "May God forgive you." He realized then that the cross was not just a symbol. It was a force field that evil physically could not penetrate. But the enemy wasn't done. A rival priest named Florentius, eaten alive by jealousy, decided to try a different method. He baked a loaf of bread, poisoned it, and sent it to Benedict as a gift. Benedict, through a supernatural intuition, knew immediately that the gift was a trap. A raven, a wild bird that Benedict had befriended, flew into the room. Benedict didn't panic. He spoke to the bird. He commanded it, "In the name of Jesus Christ, take this bread and drop it where no man can find it." The bird obeyed, snatching the death trap in its beak and flying it away, returning hours later for its actual meal. These aren't just legends. They are the evidence of a man who walked in such authority that nature itself conspired to protect him. This is where the story turns into a mystery. For centuries after his death, people wore medals honoring Benedict, but they contained a cryptic code, a jumble of letters that no one could read. The meaning had been lost to time. It wasn't until a witch trial in 1647, over 1,000 years later, that the code was cracked. Women accused of witchcraft in Bavaria confessed that they could not cast spells on the Abbey of Metten. Why? Because of the signs on the walls. Investigators tore through the abbey and found old paintings of the cross surrounded by these mysterious letters. They dug into the library and found a manuscript from 1415. There, side by side, was the image of Saint Benedict and the full Latin text of an exorcism prayer. The letters were initials. They had rediscovered a spiritual formula designed to break curses. Let's decode this weapon. If you hold a Saint Benedict medal, you are holding a condensed exorcism. On the back, on the vertical bar of the cross, are the letters C, S, M, L. Crux sacra sit mihi lux. May the Holy Cross be my light. This is your guidance system. On the horizontal bar, NDSMD. Non Draco sit mihi dux. Let not the dragon be my guide. This is your declaration of independence from the influence of the devil. But the heavy artillery is around the rim. It reads VRSNSMV. Vade retro satana. Step back, Satan. Nunquam suade mihi vana. Never tempt me with your vanities. It continues. SMQLIVB. Sunt mala quae libas. What you offer is evil. Ipse venena bibas. Drink the poison yourself. Do you see the power in that? It refers directly to the shattered cup. It is a command that mirrors the attack back onto the attacker. It tells the enemy to swallow his own malice. You don't just wear this, you deploy it. There is a specific prayer of invocation that activates this shield over your life. I want you to listen to these words. Don't just hear them. Let them settle into your spirit. Glorious Saint Benedict, shield me against my enemies. Deliver me from evil tongues and from witchcraft. Banish from my life and from my home any and all diabolical influence. Let no spell, hex, or curse touch me or my loved ones. Protect me from the evil eye, from jealousy, and from the influence of wicked people. This is how you break free. You stop fighting in your own strength. You go to a priest, you get a medal blessed, specifically with the Benedictine blessing, and you bring it into your space. You put one over your door to seal your home. You put one in your car to seal your journey. You wear one near your heart to seal your soul. This is not magic. It is faith in action. It is a physical reminder to the spiritual realm that you are claimed property, and that you stand under the protection of the cross that shattered the poison cup. If you have felt that shadow, if you have felt that unexplained weight, do not ignore it. The war is real, but the victory is already won. The darkness hates this medal because it hates the light that shines through it. Claim that light, stand your ground, and remember the command that has echoed for 1,500 years. Crux sacra sit mihi lux. May the Holy Cross be your light.